The first reports were dismissed as rumors, strange behavior in a remote Japanese village, stories of the dead walking, hallucinations some said, a new drug others whispered. No one believed it, not truly, not until it was too late. The virus, silent and swift, ripped through Japan like a typhoon. Panic spread faster than the infection itself. Images flashed across the globe's streets overrun by the undead, their eyes vacant, their hunger insatiable. The world watched in horror as civilization crumbled. Governments scrambled to react, but borders offered little protection against an enemy that knew no reason, no fear, only the primal urge to consume. Quarantine measures failed, airports became gateways for the apocalypse. The world held its breath, bracing for the inevitable. The virus, it seemed, had a mind of its own. Its spread was relentless, its hunger insatiable. We were unprepared. The virus ignored borders, devoured nations. It spread like wildfire, consuming everything in its path. Within weeks, the world was unrecognizable. Cities, once symbols of human achievement, became graveyards. The infected, driven by a primal hunger, swarmed the living. They moved with unnatural speed and ferocity, relentless in their pursuit. The stench of decay clung to the air, a constant reminder of the horrors unfolding. Governments collapsed. Armies, overwhelmed and outmatched, crumbled. Communication lines fell silent. Humanity was fractured, scattered, fighting for survival in a world gone mad. Hope, once a beacon in the darkness, flickered and threatened to die. Captain John Carlos, hardened by years of service, had seen his share of battles, but nothing could have prepared him for this. The world he knew had vanished, replaced by a nightmare. He received the news of the outbreak while stationed overseas. His family, his wife Sarah and his 2 young children, Emily and Ethan, were back home in California. A gnawing fear settled in his heart. He hadn't heard from them since the outbreak began. His orders were clear: maintain order, protect the civilians. But order was a luxury lost, and the civilians were dwindling by the day. Every face he saw, every desperate plea for help, was a painful reminder of his own family's uncertain fate. His mission now was simple: survive and find his family. Hope, however faint, kept him going. Even in the darkest hours, humanity's resilience shone through. Pockets of survivors emerged, banding together against the relentless horde. They fortified buildings, scavenged for supplies, and fought tooth and nail for every inch of ground. Scientists worked tirelessly, racing against time to understand the virus, to find a cure. Rumors spread of breakthroughs of potential vaccines, offering a glimmer of hope in the face of despair. But the virus was cunning, constantly evolving. Every victory felt temporary, every gain overshadowed by the knowledge that the enemy was relentless, tireless, and always hungry. Still, humanity fought on. They held on to hope, clinging to the belief that even in the face of unimaginable darkness, the human spirit could endure. Section 5. The Price of Survival. Survival came at a heavy cost. The world was a brutal, unforgiving place. Trust was a luxury few could afford. The line between right and wrong blurred. John witnessed the best and worst of humanity. Acts of selfless heroism. Strangers risking their lives for others. But he also saw the darkness, the desperation that drove some to unspeakable acts. He had lost good soldiers under his command, their lives cut short by the relentless horde. Each loss chipped away at his soul, a heavy burden he carried with him. The world had changed. John had changed. The question was, could humanity survive the cure if it meant losing its humanity in the process? The virus was more than just a physical threat. It was a disease that infected the mind, gnawing at the edges of sanity. The constant fear, the never-ending fight for survival, it took its toll. John saw it in the eyes of his fellow survivors. The haunted look, the 1,000-yard stare. They were alive for now, but a part of them was gone, eaten away by the horrors they had witnessed. He felt it in himself too, the nightmares that plagued his sleep, the way he flinched at every shadow, every sudden noise. The world had become a trigger, constantly reminding him of his loss, his fear. The virus had a way of getting under your skin, burrowing deep, until you weren't sure who you were anymore. The line between man and monster was becoming increasingly blurred. Every night John listened to the echoes of the fallen, the moans of the undead, a chilling symphony that served as a constant reminder of the world's fate. But there were other echoes too, the whispers of memories, of a life before the outbreak, laughter, love, the warmth of his family's embrace. These were the echoes he clung to, the ones that gave him the strength to keep going. He thought of Sarah's smile, the way Emily's eyes lit up when she laughed, the feel of Ethan's small hand in his. These memories were all he had left, but they were everything. They were the reason he fought, the reason he clung to hope, the reason he refused to give up, even when the darkness threatened to consume him. The final mission came as no surprise. A last stand against the relentless tide, a desperate gamble to buy time, to give humanity a fighting chance. The details were irrelevant. Another day, another battle in a war that seemed to have no end. But this time felt different. This time the weight of every life lost, every hope shattered, pressed down on John's shoulders. He rallied his remaining men, their faces etched with fatigue but their eyes burning with a fierce determination. They were outnumbered, outgunned, but not outmatched. Not while they still drew breath. This was their last stand. A fight for survival, for humanity, for a future that seemed to slip further away with each passing moment. The air crackled with tension. The stench of death was overpowering. The ground trembled beneath the weight of the approaching horde. John gripped his rifle, his heart pounding against his ribs. This is it, he thought. This is the end. But then, a sound cut through the despair. A distant helicopter, its rotors chopping through the heavy air. Reinforcements? Rescue? Or just another cruel trick of fate? John closed his eyes, his hand tightening around his wife's photograph. He didn't know if humanity could survive this. He didn't know if he would see his family again. All he knew was that he would keep fighting. For as long as he drew breath, he would fight. For himself, for his family, for a future he could only pray was still within reach. The zombie horde surged forward, a wave of decay and hunger. John raised his rifle and met their charge. The end or a new beginning? He didn't know, but one thing was certain. Humanity's fate hung in the balance.